Hello, this is a short video about price elasticity and how price elasticity can show how a tax is born between buyers and sellers in a marketplace. In the earlier problem, we looked at how a $2 tax was actually played out in a market and how that tax was actually, even though it was officially placed on the buyers in the form of a sales tax, it was actually borne by both the buyers and the sellers in the market. Now we're going to take a look at elasticity in this marketplace for supply and demand within a certain range, and then look at how that might relate to the tax burden that we saw in the earlier problem. So we're going back to our original supply curve and our original demand curve, and we're going to be looking at price elasticity. Now, because elasticity can change along the length of the demand curve, we're actually going to focus our look at elasticity on the specific range of the demand curve where our tax effect is taking place. So for both curves, we're going to look at the price elasticity between the price of $5 and a price of $8. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to think about how the price and quantity changes for both the supply and the demand between these two prices. So what we need to do is we also need to calculate our quantities. Well, we're going to do demand first. So we're going to do elasticity of demand. So at a price of 1, right, the quantity demanded of 1 is 46 minus the price of $5, which will give us a quantity of 41. For a price of 8, we're going to take 46 minus 8 is 38. So our quantity 2 is 38. Now for calculating out elasticity, we're going to use our midpoint formula. It's a little bit of math, and the math looks kind of long, but it's actually not all that bad. First, we'll take care of the quantity. And just a reminder, we're doing elasticity of demand. So we're first going to take care of our quantities. Our quantity, right, our quantity 2, 38, subtract our quantity 1, 41, all over 38 plus 41 divided by 2. That's going to be the top part of our equation. The bottom part of our equation will be the price side, right? Our percent change in price. So in this case, what we're looking at is price number 2, 8, minus price number 1, 5, all divided by 8 plus 5, in parentheses, divided by 2. Okay? And so what we want to do here is now we're going to kind of crunch this out, okay? And if we actually, take my calculator here, and this is where calculators become friendly, right? What I'm going to do is I'm first going to do the top part. I'm going to do my 38 subtract 41, right? And that's going to give me my 3. And I have my 38 plus 41. And then divide that by 2, and that's going to give me 58.5. I'll now take care of my bottom part of the equation. This will be 3, and 5 plus 8 is 13 divided by 2. That should give me 6.5. And so now I'll try and rewrite this all down here. Elasticity of demand. My top part, right, my 3 divided by 58.5 is 0.5. We'll just kind of leave it at that, decimal point 0.05. And my 3 divided by 6.5 gives me a 0.46, and now we'll finish this off, and my 0.05 divided by 0.46 is 0.1. 0.1, that's pretty inelastic. So let's make a note of that over here. Over here, I'm going to say my elasticity of demand, and why don't I erase some of this other stuff here for a second, just to give myself a little bit of room. Elasticity of demand is 0.1. All right, so that's half my elasticity problem. The elasticity equation, the midpoint formula, seems big, but mathematically, it's not hard at all. It just requires a little calculator action. So, second part. Let's erase all of this. And now I want to figure out my elasticity of supply, right? Figure out the other side of the market. And again, I want to just focus within the tight range that I was looking at earlier, right? From my price of $5 to my price of $8. Well, at a price of $5, 6 times 5 is 30 plus 4, right, will give us a 34. Quantity equals 34. Quantity 2, right, of an 8, right, 6 times 8 will give us 48 plus 4 is 52. So now I have the raw data that I need. I'll go back to my elasticity formula again. So my elasticity this time of supply, and I will use basically the same somewhat laborious process of calculating out my elasticity. Right? We will start off with quantity 2, 52, subtract 34, all divided by 52 plus 34 in brackets divided by 2. And then we'll do my price. Now I've already done my price earlier, but we'll just run through it again to make sure. I will have my 8 subtract 5 all over 8 plus 5 in brackets divided by 2. And so I will calculate this out again now. Right? I have my 52 minus 34. 52 minus 34 equals 18. 18 divided by, and we have 52 plus 34, and divide that by 2, and that equals 43. And then I have my 8 minus 5, which I knew from before, is 3. And I have my 8 plus 5, which is 13, divided by 2, which should give me 6.5. I've seen that before. Now we'll go back to my elasticity of supply. Final calculations, right? 18 divided by 43 equals 0.41, and 3 divided by 6.5 equals 0.46. If I do 0.41 divided by 0.46, I will get an elasticity of 0.89. Now, the key thing here with the elasticities is the comparison between the two elasticities. Let me erase some of this, and then we'll talk about what the elasticities can show us about the tax burden. We'll get rid of all of this. And we have a situation here where my elasticity of demand is 0.1. And my elasticity of supply within this region is 0.89. Now, it's important to recognize that the elasticity numbers have to be compared to one another. And we have a situation here where the elasticity of demand is less than the elasticity of supply. This means that elasticity of demand, this is our more inelastic. Right? The demand curve is more inelastic in this range than the supply curve. And what that means is that the demand side of the market should be bearing more of the tax imposed on this market. And we actually see this. If you compare the results from the earlier case, where we had a tax of $2, well, that tax was split in the marketplace. The price that the sellers paid was $5.71. And as we talked about, what they bore of the tax was 0.29 or 29 cents of the tax. The buyers, on the other hand, the price borne by the buyer, well, that was 7.71, which meant that they actually bore $1.71 of the tax. The buyers from the previous problem paid more of the tax. And our elasticity, the fact that elasticity of demand is, right, much lower, right? It is a more inelastic number than elasticity of supply, tells us that the more inelastic side of a market will bear more of the tax.